Well, welcome back to Eryri National Park. We are at the foot of Dolbadarn Castle, and I am reliably told that this castle is the finest example of a round tower in Wales. And I tell you what, looking at those shots, it's really difficult to argue with that. This was built in the late 12th century and was a vital defence for the ancient kingdom of Gwynedd, an ancient stronghold for North Wales back then. Now this whole region is a stronghold for some of Britain's most threatened mountain specialists. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a challenge. The Welsh name for this bird, and I'm going to take a run up at it, is Moy Alchan Ermineth. I hope I got that right, and I hope it means what I think it means, and I haven't just said something on Live TV that I shouldn't have. But I'm told it means black bird of the mountain. And you can see why. These are Ring Ouzels. Very, very similar to blackbirds because they're closely related, a member of the thrush family. And you can see really noticeably in the male that bright white collar. And the feathers also have this light edging which gives the birds an overall scaly appearance. Now, the birds will head up to this part of the world in the spring. They arrive here in the late April, early May, and they migrate here from northwest Africa and also to Spain. And the birds in Wales, this area in Eryri has up to 70%, in fact over 70% of Wales's breeding population. So this area is a real stronghold for them. Now, right here at the foot of the castle, it's a really good opportunity to show you why they come here. It's very, very busy here, lots of tourists, heavy footfall, so there are no actual birds nesting here, but we can get into the habitat and see what they come for. So I'm just going to climb up here, if you follow me. It is these little rocky crags, these nooks and crannies that they're looking for. And if I can get right up here, and I'll just pull this bracken back, you can see there's a little hole there, and you can see that is the sort of site they'll be looking for a nest, the perfect Ring Ouzel nest site, possibly. Now, in that sort of location, they're going to feel very sheltered, very protected from predators, from weasels, from stoats, but also from the weather, because I know it's sunny at the moment, but it can get brutal up here, as I'm sure you can imagine. So that vegetation is going to provide a perfect windbreak for them. So a nest site, the perfect nest site, is crucial for the breeding success of these birds, like all birds. And these mountains, these beautiful mountains, have an abundance of those sorts of nesting sites and habitats for these species. But I'm afraid it's not all good news, because Ring Ouzels have been on the UK Red List since 2002. There's been an overall decline, especially at lower altitudes, and just last year the park saw a decline of 30%. The reason for this isn't completely understood. It's probably a combination of factors, but certainly long, dry, hot spells like we seem to be getting aren't going to help. And this is because it affects their foraging behavior. Now, when the going is good, the birds will be out foraging, and what they're really looking for are earthworms. And we should see that here when you can see them out foraging. So they'll be looking for earthworms in the soil, and they'll be digging around, pulling up juicy earthworms, which make a very big part of the diet for their chicks. So really important at this time of year to be able to dig into the ground. And obviously, if they're able to feed those chicks are going to grow strong and fledge, and that's a successful nest. However, that's not what we're seeing at the moment. When the going is tough, as it has been quite recently, we have had this long dry spell. It's not actually been that long if you compare it to last summer, but just listen to this. That ground is already getting really, really hard. So that's going to be really difficult for the birds to dig into. But more than that, the earthworms are going to burrow deeper into the soil. So the food is there, the birds just can't get to them. So these are tough times for Ring Ouzels, but the habitat is still a great one for them. Now, a habitat that we tend to enjoy is a woodland habitat. And in the spring, with the forest floor covered in bluebells, it's really hard to beat.